What is something your neighbor did that you couldn't believe? I was walking up to my apartment. Some sketchy guy asked me for a ride. I never met him before and I told him I didn't have a car. Next day it turns out my neighbor got murdered. Sketchy guy was the murderer. I recognized him when I saw him in the news. So lucky. A wanted serial rapist once stopped by my apartment late one night. It was like 2 a.m. I was getting ready to go to bed. I had wrecked my car shortly after moving in, and my roommates were both at their girlfriends. So our parking slots were empty, but the downstairs was clearly lit up. He knocked on the door, and I actually opened it. One of my roommates had the tendency to drink a little too much and misplace his keys. So I was getting used to 2 a.m. Hey, are you up? Locked out, text. He had first tried to invite himself in, but I'm a big girl, so I just settled my weight and about slammed the door in his face. I can't remember his story too much anymore. Something about breaking down in front of our complex and pointing at a dark car far away at the other end of the parking lot. Something about a locksmith, AARP, a dead phone. Needing $20, a phone, and a place to sit while waiting for someone else. I couldn't be bothered to care or believe a word, but I had a feeling that if I had mishandled this, he'd start getting violent. His hand kept twitching to something under his jacket, and I wasn't keen to find out exactly what that was. I just turned on the southern charm and said, "I'm sorry, honey, you came to the wrong place. I'm a broke college student without a penny to my name. I don't give out my phone number to strangers, and my dog isn't very nice. I'm sorry, you can try the corner market, 5-minute walk, open all night." Most of this was a lie, but I grew up with strict parents. I can lie myself out of a tight spot. He then proceeded to slam his fist into my door frame, hard enough to chip it, and yelled, "You ain't got a dog, bitch. Fuck you." Barricaded myself in the bathroom with a baseball bat my dad bought me, called 911, and only opened the door after they presented badges to the window. They got my statement, took pictures of the damage, left me a copy to give my landlord, and basically kind of told me off for opening the door. I was asked to come to the station the next day to look at some mugshots, and picked out this guy who'd been attacking single girls around the college campus. It fit his MO to a T. I don't know if they ever caught him, but I sure as hell stopped opening the door for my roomie. I stopped going out after dark until I got a job that necessitated my coming home after sunset more often than not. Not later than 8 usually, but the few times I covered closing, my manager always cut me loose almost as soon as we closed and either found me a ride or refused to let me leave until I had an Uber out front. The neighborhood was on its way out of the gutter, but attacks happened, thankfully never to me. During Hurricane Irma, my mailbox got pulled out of the ground and flung at my house from the high wind, so my neighbor ran out sprinting with a roll of duct tape in his hand and taped the mailbox to the front of my house. All of this was in the middle of a Category 4 hurricane. A true hero. Absolute champion. What a lad. I have a kind of roid-raging, stir-crazy neighbor who's not the greatest baby dad. We live in a subdivision with single-family homes and basically a drag strip street that crosses between our houses. He has a couple of toddlers and one infant who's just starting to toddle, and often while he's sitting in his garage pumping iron and taking selfies, the kids are roaming around freely. The other day I spotted the infant meandering into the road while one of another neighbor's kids, about toddler age, was running with a kitchen knife in hand and proceeded to stab a cardboard box. He also does stuff like leave his garbage cans on the curb mostly into the week following trash pickup, which isn't unbelievable aside from how unbelievably lazy it is. Stole tools from our garage and plants from our garden. Police were called for the tools but couldn't prove it. Told me I would traumatize a 12-year-old by bringing the trash out in a crop top and short shorts on a very hot day at 19 years old and while weighing maybe half as much as the girl's mother. I think I've got bad news for visiting public pools if that's enough to traumatize the girl. Called the cops over parked bikes that would disturb their daughter sleeping. Sure, the bikes had a party, and tried to discuss with the cops after we moved them that the new spot wasn't good either. Cops weren't having it at this point. My grandma owned an apartment in a building next to her house and was renting it to a couple with children. One day the father put his 3-year-old son in the washing machine and started it and went back to his computer to download porn. The kid died. Both the parents are in jail and the older sister is a bit acting like a future serial killer. She saw it all. Oh my God, that's so terrible and sad. Instead of throwing my 5-year-old's bouncy ball back over the fence, he popped it and threw it in the trash. Real cool. Edit. But he got arrested for elder abuse. His mum, we didn't even know anyone else lived with him, and went to jail, so there's that, I guess. My grandpa used to do that shit. He was not popular with his neighbours. He was the old guy yelling at people on his lawn, calling the cops over bins left on the corner or noises after 9 p.m, etc. Though I nearly watched my aunt attack a neighbour who came over to say, "Oh, thank God, the fucker's finally dead, is he?" when he came to clean up.